winning in, so we actually watch, so that's why we're covering it. To everybody, it's okay that David sees these deck lists because he's already in the top 8. So in the top 8, you get to see your opponent's deck list anyway.
Yeah.
So
all
don't worry about it.
Yeah. All knowledge is open from here on out for me.
So we have Jason Southworth on the left, and he is going to be battling against Ben Battle.
Looks like he's ready to battle.
Yeah, and Ben has the play, and he leads things off with Misty Rainforest with no turn 1 play, and Jason has a Tropical Island into a Ponder. So Ben, the different things that his deck can do here, maybe he wants to crack this Misty for a daze, probably not though.
Probably not. What do you think is important in the mirror matchup?
In the mirror matchup?
Landing a Nimble Mongoose and trying to connect with it?
I think if you don't play Stifle, you're a huge favorite.
Okay.
I think the most important card is Tarmogoyf.
Even though it gets spell snared, are these players running spell snares?
Yeah, they usually are playing spell snares, but a lot of the time when they play the threat, like in the first couple turns, like they won't have 1 mana open, or they'll only have 1 mana open, and then you can like Tarmogoyf and like daze their spell snare, because resolving a Tarmogoyf is just so huge in this matchup.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like on turn 1, do you play your threat, or you leave up counter magic mana? Like you can leave up mana and not progress your board, or you can progress your board and hope they don't play something like Tarmogoyf. It's bigger than your creature.
Alright, so a Ponder from Mr. Battle over here after cracking that Misty Rainforest.
It's the Lorwyn Ponder.
Yeah. I prefer that Ponder.
Yeah, the original Ponder.
It reminds me of casting Silver Gildhauser. Alright, so looking at these top 3, going to leave a... Shuffles it away. Doesn't want... It was... few cards that were very reactive. I believe it was a Spell Pierce, a Spell Snare, and a Daze. So, I mean, if Ben Battle doesn't have a threat in his hand already, he's going to want to ship that back. Again, though, this is the Rug Delver Mirror, so it can get kind of grindy.
It can also go, I've seen mini matches, someone plays a land, passes, they get wastelanded, and they have no more lands, they just lose.
Yeah.
I've seen that twice today already. It's a very greedy deck, but it can operate off of 2 lands completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, the only card in the deck that costs more than 1 mana is the Tarmogoyf.
Force of Will costs 5 mana, I believe.
Yes, Force of Will.
It's 5.
Force of Will and Daze both cost more than 1 mana. It's true.
So in the Tropical Island gets wastelanded.
Yeah, and here we're seeing exactly what you talked about. I mean, Ben kept a 1-lander, then chose not to ponder on the first turn, wanted to get 1 card deeper, completely reasonable. But in doing so, he whiffed on that Ponder, shuffled his library, and didn't draw land, and then Jason just wastelanded him.
And that might be all she wrote. I mean, we'll see if Ben can battle back with some lands.
Yeah, but at this point, it seems pretty rough for him. And yeah, no land for Ben, and he's going to be forced to just pass the turn right back again.
Yep, discard just Stifle.
Yep. And I think, even though we see a lot of these mirrors come down to people, putting the other person in a situation where they don't have lands, Stifle is still a card that's not very good in the mirror. Usually the version of the deck that does not have the Stifle is much better than the version that does. So Tarmogoyf comes down, and Ben probably recognizes this as the most important card in the mirror. He's going to force will that. Extremely defensible, but a Daze is going to really punish Ben for that force of will.
Can't really pay for Daze when you have no lands in play. And Ben draws a Delver and has to pass back.
And at this point, the Tarmogoyf, I believe, is a 3/4. I believe there is instant, sorcery, and land in the graveyard. Jason battling for 3, putting Ben down to 15 here.
Yeah, Ben needs to get some action going here pretty quickly.
Yeah, and this game is getting out of reach very quickly for him. Ooh, and another Tarmogoyf.
Dubs, Pocket Goyfs.
Yeah, no red mana for Jason, but it doesn't really seem like it matters. He has like 2 guys in play who have 4 toughness, and
now a Delver as well.
Yeah, when you're playing Rug Delver, 4 toughness is a really tough number to beat, especially when you're this far behind.
Ben realizes that they can't really answer Resolve Tarmogoyf with 4 more toughness that easily, so that's all they wrote.
Yeah, especially when he's that many turns behind. Like he would have needed to draw a land and then also have answers, and there really just are no answers to a Tarmogoyf with more than 3 toughness, except for another Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, in game 1 there's no answer. Yeah. Like now each player
gets Submerge.
Submerge is very good.
definitely a very helpful thing to have post-board here. But the one thing with Submerge is Tarmogoyf is just so important in the mirror that a lot of the time playing your Submerge better than your opponent can often win you the match. Like, you can wait till your opponent goes to crack fetch land, and then you can Submerge their Tarmogoyf in response. And they'll be forced to shuffle the Tarmogoyf back into their library.
Yeah, here in Legacy, oftentimes you want to just crack a fetch main phase to play around Submerge. Things like Submerge, Stifle, even Mind Sensor. Like, just because you can wait to do it doesn't mean it's correct to. Like, we're taught to cast instants at instant speed every time, but that's not always correct,
Yeah, Legacy is a strange format where just about anything can happen. So, I mean, a lot of the time, just, when you know that you have an opening to do something and it's completely safe, that might just be the best time to do it.
Indeed. So, what do you think the players are going to board in? The Submerges? Scavenging is? Probably not. Red Elemental Blast? What do you think about that? Probably. Counterspell?
Probably. I think like a Red Elemental Blast, just countering the cantrips, it's surprisingly good against these Delver decks to just counter their Ponders.
Or it can just blow up a Delver, or an Insectile Aberration.
I mean, I find Force of Will to be pretty bad in this matchup usually.
I mean, against fair decks, like, Force of Will isn't really where you want to be against these fair decks that are kind of grindy, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, like, all their cards cost 1 and 2, so, like, if you ever really force anything, even if it's Tarmogoyf, a super important card like Tarmogoyf, it's still like they just hymned to Tarak you. You know, they just paid 2 mana, and they got, like, 2 blue cards.
Yeah, not even 2 lands, like 2 blue cards, 2 good cards.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, basically no matter what you force, you basically just turn their spell into a hymn. That's not a good place to be.
That's not good at all. If there's a crucial card you want to counter, like in a combo deck or some other deck, you want force, but here it's not really needed. So do you think these players will be boarding out their dazes, or since they know each player is playing daze, you just play around it?
There's kind of there are a lot of different schools of thought with that. A lot of people don't play around daze in post-boarded games, at least for game 2. But I mean in game 2, there's like this kind of like testing the waters point, really finding out if the other person still has daze in their deck.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the early turns, the decks are forced to tap out a lot of the time.
Yeah, I play daze in my deck, my Sneak and Show deck, and oftentimes I'll board it out, especially when I'm on the draw game 2, because it's much worse when you're on the draw, obviously. But I will make sure to count if they're playing around the daze in the game 2, and I might board them back in depending on that. Also, it pitches a Force of Will, which is kind of important actually, more than you'd think.
And both these lists look pretty stock.
Yeah.
It's not much. I mean,
Ben has 1 Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, that's some decks usually run that.
He does have 4 Stifles also, where Jason is running the 0 Stifle version. And those Stifles, again, there's another card. Like, when you have Stifle and Daze in your deck is super, super powerful when you're on the play.
Yeah. When you can Stifle a fetch land and then Daze the other thing, those 2 combined, just mana disruption, counter magic, and threats. You just want, like, all 3 with this deck, which you usually can do too in a deck with 8+ cantrips and 19 lands.
Yeah, especially when a lot of your cantrips are cards like Brainstorm and Ponder, and you have access to so many fetch lands. It just really lets you find whatever you need at any given moment.
You can. I'm a fan of sculpting, and you can sculpt your hand with this deck pretty well.
Yes, yes, you can.
Actually, we were just talking. Brainstorm without fetch lands isn't all that great. Like in Pauper, where you have access to Preordain. Preordain's almost just better than Brainstorm. It is better than Brainstorm.
It is better than Brainstorm.
Yeah. Fetch lands make the magic happen.
Very true. Ponder might even be better than Brainstorm without fetch lands.
It's very close. It probably is better. Unless you're playing...
It's close, though.
If you're playing Delver Secrets in Pauper, which you can, it's a common. Delver in all formats. You can set up the top with Brainstorm. In case you can also set up with the Ponder, but they're both good.
Yeah, I mean, Brainstorm guarantees it in a certain number of ways. And Brainstorm, you can also... like dodge discard on important cards with Brainstorm for combo decks. That makes Brainstorm better than Ponder without fetch lands even. But Ponder obviously gives the option of shuffle, which is a really powerful thing to add to the card. So
the players are shuffling up here for game 2.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's so great about this deck is, you're playing 4 Brainstorm and 4 Ponder with all these fetch lands, and you can play a lot of these just 1-ofs in your sideboard, like a 1-of Life and Alone, or like a 1-of Blast, or a 1-of Ancient Grudge, and you'll find it a remarkable amount of the time.
Yeah, I know when you play 2-ofs, like, you almost always see a 2-of hands down most of the time, if the game is flowing normally. Like, you don't get wastelanded out like we saw last game. Consistency is a good thing to have in a Magic the Gathering deck.
Definitely. And one of the best parts about Legacy is that you can have consistency so much. I mean, I think that's one of the best parts about the Grand Architect deck that Brad top-rated the Grand Prix with, and that we saw Lou finish in the top 4 of the Standard Open this weekend with. Because, it's a deck that has 4 Gitaxian Probes, 4 Ponders, and then Snapcaster Mages. And in Standard, that's something that, besides Delver, decks don't really reach that level of consistency, and that's kind of Delver's major strength over the past few months. Is that it's just so consistent. You just play so many cantrips. It's basically like you're playing, like a 48-card deck.
Yeah.
And the Grand Architect deck does that very similarly, only it does stuff that is very powerful against any Greed or red-based deck.
Yes, when they trap out for a Primal Titan, you just double clone it or whatever. All
so
that work they took forever to get, you have it twice as well for half as much the cost.
Yes. Pretty unreal. And it just seems really good right now. And especially given that the format is just all about like green-red and ramp.
Aggro or ramp or
white-red and all of these decks.
Yeah. Standard's pretty gruesome.
It is very gruesome. Naya. It's like a Wild Nicottle format with no Wild Nicottle.
Yeah. All right, so Ben is on the play, and he cracked a Mist Rainforest for probably a tropical island.
And it looks like he kept his Stifles in.
Volcanic. Does this mean anything when they crack it for a volcanic island over tropical? It's predicting the burn in their hand, right?
Yeah, I guess it means maybe he has like Delver Bolt or something. Jason Southworth choosing to play a Taiga in his deck while Ben Battle does not have the Taiga. It's a Delver Bolt probably in Ben's hand here. And casts this Delver. Jason's going to say this is okay. The one Taiga being interesting in this deck because, it makes you less susceptible to the got you surgical extraction play that people sometimes try to do against you. But in the same sense, it makes you have 1 land hands on the draw that you can't keep.
Yeah, it also
normally you can keep any 1 land hand on the draw, except for wasteland hands, obviously. But
also, if you have the Taiga, Jason opens up, fires back with the Nimble-Mongoose. Also, when you have the Taiga, you can have Trop, Volcanic, and Taiga, and 1 wasteland does not cut you off of any color.
Very true. All right, so Ben with another Delver of Secrets, and it looks like he does not have a land here. I'm actually very surprised he didn't attack with the Delver.
He values his Delver more than he thinks Jason's Nimble-Mongoose is worth. That is interesting.
Yeah, and I actually would disagree in this matchup. I think the Nimble-Mongoose has more value than the Delver.
I think so too. You can't deal with it. There's no way for you to kill it.
Yeah, Lightning Bolts kill Delvers.
Like we're seeing right now.
No, Fork Bolts kill Delvers. But Nimble-Mongoose, nothing kills the Nimble-Mongoose. Jason can take it. Yeah. And, if I was Ben, I would happily trade there.
But Jason, when Ben did not attack with his Delver, Jason knew that Ben valued his Delver highly. So he knew Ben would not block with it.
Yeah, so well played by Jason, being able to gather that information and use it to his advantage. So, this brainstorm here from Ben during his upkeep. Again, he has locked himself out of a second land.
At least we'll be seeing an Insectile Aberration.
I mean, he will have the Insectile Aberration on the board, so as long as Jason gets a little bit unlucky, doesn't find a removal spell for a little while, Ben might be able to create a racing situation. But a lot of stuff has to go right. Jason, even if he can just threshold those Mongoose, he's in an awesome position here.
Yeah, it looks like we're off to Ben is in a racing situation, and if that Insectile Aberration gets bolted out or submerged or what have you, which actually can't be submerged right now, but if it gets bolted, it's not looking too good. It's not going to be good for Ben.
Yeah, it looks like Jason does have the bolt in hand.
It does.
Yeah, so Jason coming in for 2, Ben down to 16 now, and I imagine Jason's just going to aim a bolt at this Insectile Aberration, unless, of course, he has a Tarmogoyf in his hand.
The third Goose.
Mongoose.
Mongizes?
Yes.
They're not loose yet, though.
Oh, definitely not. All right, so Ponder from Ben. Let's see, can he find a land? And Scalding Tarn. It's going to get cracked, and he's going to go find himself a tropical island here.
If Ben had a Bonfire of the Damned in his sideboard, that'd be quite the blowout right now.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty good. Could also Brainstorm it right onto the top.
Yep, yep.
Some of these cards from the new set definitely have some potential in Legacy.
I mean, anything that makes spells cheaper or free to cast, you need to look at that in all formats.
Definitely. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more Temporal Mastery or things like that. I mean, Limdol's Vault is a card.
It is. It can search. It searches your whole deck.
Yeah.
At the mere price of a life for 5 cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 mana Time Walk with Echo. It's an instant.
Yep.
It's pretty
good. So Ben finds a tropical and plays a Delver.
Yeah, another Delver of Secrets comes down for Ben.
Will there be some blocking going on here? I wonder.
It's a good question.
There will not be. It looks like.
Ben doesn't want to trade now. I mean, now he's pretty committed to this plan.
Yeah. See, Ben does have the Submerge, but you can't Submerge Strata creatures, and it flips off a Spell Snare.
Yeah, so he has a little bit of defense against the Tarmogoyf if Jason happens to draw one. Jason going to 13 here. Delver actually going to do an okay job trading. That Noble Mongoose is definitely going to help here.
Is it 6 cards in the graveyard, it looks like?
But Jason still only has 3 cards in graveyard.
Well, now he has 4.
So, yeah, now he's 4, and that Ponder's going to help him increase that number pretty quickly.
If he could ponder into a Thought Scour and have another spell...
The Thought Scour is enough, right? Because it's the Thought Scour plus the 2 cards?
Oh, that is enough, yes.
Yeah.
Thought Scour will get there.
And now... interestingly enough, I mean, before Ben played that Mongoose, Jason was still in a pretty good position, 12, divisible by 3, where 13 is not. So a Flood Strand from Jason. Deciding what the correct play is here.
Yep. Does Ben have an instant speed spell to pump his Goose?
And I mean...
looks like he does. Bolt you.
Bolt you, put you at 10.
Block.
And block. And it's a nice play from Ben.
Yep.
And just like that, Ben, despite having missed that second land drop for so many turns, been in a little bit of an awkward spot. Looking really good to win this game.
Yeah, Ben put up that bluff. Do I have an instant spell? And Jason called, and he did. I mean, I think you attack anyway. You're not going to win by sitting on defense when there's an aberration in play. And the Goyf dodging the spell snare that Jason knows Ben has.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, is by attacking there, if Ben is going to block, he's going to have a trick, and that forces him to tap out, and then he knows he's going to get to resolve a Tarmogoyf.
Which is probably bigger than a 3/4. Instant creature sorcery land?
Yep, 4/5. And like I was saying before, anything like a Tarmogoyf with 4 or more toughness in this matchup is
huge.
Really tough to beat.
Ben does have a Submerge, so this is the fetch land Submerge play we're talking about. Make sure that Tarmogoyf doesn't get submerged in response to the cracking of the Flood Strand. But I think Jason knows about that. He doesn't need the mana right now.
Yeah, he also does have Spell Snare in his hand, though.
He does. Alright, Goyf gets submerged, gets...
Yeah, and
excommunicated.
Going to... So, Jason falling down to 7 here. Ben staying exactly where he is at 10.
Seeing a lot of Vanishment happening right now. New card from Avacyn Restored.
Yeah. A little bit worse than Submerge.
Yes, so Ben has a Spell Snare that he's probably... There it is. And that is the 7th card.
Yeah, and Ben down to 4 now.
Very close.
Yeah, extremely close. Now, Ben has a few different options here. If he swings here, what he can do is then play his Delver with the intention of chump blocking and trying to top deck a burn spell.
Yep.
If he does not swing, in many ways he just resigns himself to lose no matter what.
No matter what.
So I think swinging and giving yourself the option of getting the burn spell, probably your best plan here.
And it has to be lightning bolt or
no, Jace will be at 1.
yeah.
So any burn spell will be good enough. A Vapor Snag would Mongoose untargetable, so Vapor Snag would not do it. But Fork Bolt or Lightning Bolt, both good enough here.
Which there are 1, 2, 3, 6 remaining in his deck, if he kept them all in.
Ben tanking a little bit. This is certainly a pretty difficult decision.
This is the critical decision in the match right now, at least in this game.
The other thing Ben can try to do is not attack with his Mongoose, cast the Delver, and then try to flip the Delver and stabilize at 1. I feel like that's way riskier.
Yeah, that's living on the edge.
It may psychologically, a lot of the time those plays seem like the safer play, but it's a significantly more dangerous play. Like he has a much better chance of just drawing the burn spell. There are like 6 of them left in his deck, I think.
And he's got brainstorms and ponders to dig
1, 2,
for
3,
him.
4, 5, 6, 9. Yeah, I mean he has 44 cards left in his deck, and 6 of them are cards that would win him the game. But no, he didn't attack.
He did not attack.
So he could have given himself almost 15% chance to just win the game. All right, Ben, gonna trade that Mongoose
And go to 1. Scalding Tarn, not so hot right now. Jason passes. What has been draw?
No.
Miracle? No.
Yeah, I did not see what he drew there.
He passes, resigned to trading in combat with the Mongoose.
Yeah, I mean that's all it can do now. If it was a burn spell, that'd be a little brutal.
That would be. Jason does not attack. Does he have?
And he just passes.
Both players are sitting on D, not attacking or blocking. That usually means one of them is wrong.
Well, I actually don't think either is wrong right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Submerge.
That'll be good enough.
Yeah.
And here Ben has a Stifle in hand. So that's one of the problems with Stifle in this mirror is it's a really bad top deck.
Yeah, it
like
is.
in your opening hand, it's a great card, but when you top deck that later on, it's really not great. Congratulations to Jason Southworth, going to be advancing to the top 8 here, playing his